Go, go, go. Hey, I'm Russ Knopf. Let's talk dividend stocks. Hey, what's up? So I've been buying more AT&T and Verizon confidently. I'm optimistic about where they're going, and apparently the market does not share my sentiment. But hey, that's okay because we're each doing our own thing. So I'm excited to share with you 3 reasons why I bought more AT&T and Verizon stock. And as always, thank you for making me a part of your investing journey and allowing me to share some of my nearly 20 years of passion that I've had about investing in the markets with you each and every week. And as always, if you're helped at any point, feel free to consider tickling, smashing, doing whatever you have to do to that like button. And now on with the show, getting on with the show. Come on, baby. Many of you may not be aware that in 1984, when I was just a young pup, they broke up AT&T, which they called Ma Bell, into 8 baby bells. And out of those 8 baby bells, as you can see, there are now 3. AT&T reminds me of like T2 and reforming into that big blob entity. So look at this simplified chart here. AT&T has become AT&T, Verizon, and Qwest. And if we look at the more complex flow chart, check it out. Yeah, it's a little bit crazy, but you can see out down here where Bell Atlantic and GTE in the year 2000, those were the 2 entities that formed Verizon. And obviously Verizon has acquired PrimeCo, which was my very first cellular carrier way back in 99 actually. And it's really interesting how AT&T has become just AT&T, Verizon, and Qwest. And who knows, maybe someday Verizon will merge with Qwest, and then AT&T will buy Verizon, and the gang will be all back together again. And a little bit of trivia to impress all of your friends with. Verizon, their name stems from 2 words, veritas, which is the Latin word meaning certainty and reliability, and horizon, which signifies forward-looking and visionary. So all we do is we smash veritas and horizon. Together we get Verizon. The first reason that I bought is the entire sector is down. Now this always presents buying opportunities. And you can see that communication services, yes, over the past year to date is up 21.54%. But when we look inside of the communication services, we see that the telecom services, which is where we find AT&T and Verizon, is down 10% year to date. So that subsector is way down. And out of the top 5 telecommunication companies by market cap, 2, 3, and 4 in order are indeed Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile. And of those 3, check it out, year-to-date performance. AT&T is down a whopping 22.42%. Verizon is down 14.72% year-to-date. And T-Mobile is down 13% year-to-date. I think it's just a great buying opportunity when an entire sector or subsector is down, looking for solid companies that are beaten down with that sector, much like AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile are, which I think are all great buying opportunities down here as they're all cash flow positive. They're good companies, and they also want to dominate in the 5G space and be the major players. The second reason is that I think tax loss selling is putting a lot of further pressure on these companies that are already down. As we head into the end of the year, people are trying to lock in those losses to offset any capital gains. And hey, why not? If you're down, way down on AT&T, take the loss if you're down on Verizon. So I think that's adding a bit of pressure to these companies that are already down. And in the case of AT&T, adding even further pressure is you have to realize that they're going to be booted from many of the aristocrat ETFs like this one, Noble, ticker NOBL, which is an S&P 500 dividend aristocrat ETF. They hold companies that have been increasing their dividend for at least 25 consecutive years. Now, AT&T, after they spin off Warner Discovery, they're going to merge Warner with Discovery and then spin it off into its own entity. That dividend is going to be cut, or as I like to say more appropriately, it's going to be right-sized. And analysts are expecting that dividend yield to be anywhere from 4 to 5%, and some, as this Yahoo article points out, expect even about 5.75%. So getting back to that Noble ETF, check that out. They currently hold 5,615,467 shares of AT&T. So that only, yes, makes up about 0.078% of the outstanding shares of AT&T, but there's several funds that are going to be dropping. So maybe 1, 2, 3% of AT&T's overall shares will be dropped. Which ETFs like Noble, check it out. Companies may reduce or eliminate dividends at any time, and those that do will be dropped from the index at reconstitution each January. ETFs like Noble are going to reconstitute their fund in January, and AT&T is going to be sold. So just right there, they're going to be dumping about 5.1 million shares. And the number 3 reason that I just bought more Verizon and AT&T is that I'm buying for income over growth. Now, the share price appreciation, the capital appreciation is nice, but in this case, these are not names we're buying for growth. We're buying for that income. And if you were to tell me that AT&T and Verizon would remain flat for many years, but just keep paying that massive and growing and increasing dividend, I would be perfectly fine with that, because that is basically like a bond proxy that has a higher yield. So just keep that in the back of your minds, that as interest rates rise, that is usually bad for many dividend stocks that people were using as bond proxies, and that could create selling pressure and drop the price of those. But as we say, when the price goes down, the yield goes up. So even then, there's still a benefit to some of these dividend stocks. Now, dividends are safe for both AT&T and Verizon. T-Mobile, by the way, does not pay a dividend. So the trailing 12-month free cash flow payout ratio for AT&T, that's where we're dividing the dividend paid by the free cash flow, is 58.6%, and AT&T had about $25.7 billion in trailing 12-month free cash flow. Verizon, on the other hand, is better at only 45.5% trailing 12-month free cash flow payout ratio. But Verizon's trailing 12-month free cash flow was negative $22.8 billion. So why is it negative $22.8 billion? Well, it's because they spent $45.4 billion on the wider C-band spectrum in February of 21, which will lead to faster 5G and wireless speeds, which, hey, we all want that. So this is why these companies aren't going away. Now, interestingly, AT&T was second with $23.4 billion spent, and T-Mobile was third with $9.3 billion. So what I also really like about AT&T is that we're going to get free shares in Warner Discovery when they spin off. AT&T's shareholders, as AT&T said, will receive stock representing 71% of the new company. So I'm excited about this. Warner Discovery wants to be a streaming king. They want to take on the likes of Netflix. I think I read they want to spend about $20 billion on new content, because they know that new content is king. And I think that's where Disney is struggling just a little bit, because yeah, they got all the Marvel stuff, but you know, how many Marvel superhero movies can you keep constantly cranking out? I think it gets saturated at some point. So Netflix and Warner Discovery, I think, are going to be the two giants in the streaming space, and we're going to get free shares of that, you know? So I think all three are good buys down here at these levels. They all have good cash flows. Check it out. Verizon is currently trailing 12 months, $9.40 of free cash flow per share. AT&T is $3.69, but check out T-Mobile at $16.09. AT&T and Verizon both have dividends that are safe. They're both currently at about 5% yield, and I'm looking forward to AT&T, what they're going to be after the spinoff. And I really like that they're both getting back to basics by unlocking value. They're spinning off non-core assets like Verizon did with Yahoo and AOL, and AT&T did with a slew of DirecTV. They're spinning off Warner Media. They're also getting rid of Crunchyroll and just all these things that they were just trying to absorb and be the blob at. So looking forward, I like all three of these. And speaking of looking forward, if you own any pharma stocks, are you aware of the patent cliffs that are coming up this decade that could affect some of the biggest blockbuster drugs and biggest pharma companies? If you're not, check out this video right here, and I will see you there.